Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. And in this session of hypnosis, you're going to be listening to something designed to turn that inner critic into a much kinder, supportive, encouraging voice. I was working with a client that was very harsh on themselves, but actually there was an unintended benefit, not to the life in general, but what feels like a win. And this is called a secondary gain. So the pattern of this client is that they had very high standards, impossibly high standards, let's call it perfection. And when they failed to meet these very high standards, then they would be very mean to themselves, very critical, very harsh. And that would make them feel bad. But when they felt bad, that would then give them permission to eat whatever they wanted. So you can see how this becomes a loop that is destructive in every way possible. But for a part that wants to crave certain foods, it gives permission to do that. And they couldn't do that if they felt great. So it had this kind of pattern. And what we noticed with this particular client is that when they were a child, certain responsibilities, they could never get them right. They were very harshly criticized by their parent. So this hypnosis session starts with an element of regression and a form of inner child work by being the mother to themselves the way they would have wanted to have been, that would have been much kinder and encouraging and helped them much better than the criticism ever did. Then a form of seeing how they communicate with their current daughter, which is that kind, encouraging way. And the reason for that is that I wanted to give them evidence that they already have this skill set, because if they could communicate that way to their daughter, they could definitely communicate that way to themselves in their own inner dialogue. And then it's about harnessing that. There's an element of what's called parts integration therapy or parts therapy. We use this metaphor of a room with a chair, and we invite that critical part, we elicit the positive intention, and we see if we can meet that positive intention in a more elegant, resourceful, and useful way. And then we link that to an extra resource of kind encouragement, integrate those two resources, and then future pace that so they get to test would it actually work in their reality when they do something quote unquote wrong. When they mess up, are they harsh to themselves, or are they being kind, understanding, and compassionate to themselves? So there's a bit going on here. And of course, because it was for a client, some of the references about cooking as a child or helping their daughter coloring in won't make sense for you if that wasn't your experience and you're not in that situation. But the essence is to train a critical part to be more encouraging and kind. So hone into that if you want to get the maximum value from this session. And if you like the idea of working with me directly, the best thing to do is to look for a link in the description to book a free 30-minute consultation call. We'll have a chat and I'll explain how we can work together. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in that wonderful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, feel a sense of release as any tension, stress, and worries just feels like it's leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. That's it. Scan your body for any clues of tension, maybe around your forehead, your jaw, your neck, or your shoulders, and just set the intention to release that tension. That's it. Breathing in relaxation and exhaling the sensation of melting away tension now. Breathing in and breathing out. And I want you to imagine what it would be like to see one of those big, fun water slides. But imagine that this water slide doesn't take you into a pool. It takes you into the past, into your childhood. Imagine you're standing at the top of this slide, being able to slide all the way back into your past. And there's something about a water slide that brings out that inner child within, that fun, playful part within you, the part that likes to enjoy and smile. And I want you to imagine sliding down that water slide, feeling the exhilaration, the speed, the velocity, all the way down, twists and turns all the way down. But when you get to the bottom, no pool. I want you to imagine you are now back in your childhood home. And I want you to imagine how it would feel to be yourself at your current age, walking around that place. You can see everyone and everything, but you are invisible to them. And I want you to see yourself as a child and your mother at a time where food was being prepared. I want you to see yourself stirring some tomato sauce in a pan. But I want you to see that no matter how you stirred that sauce, it was never quite right. It was never good enough. Didn't matter the direction, the speed, how hard you concentrated. It was never good enough. And I want you to imagine that younger version of you, perhaps learning two things. One, that you couldn't quite get things right. You had to strive for perfection. And no matter how hard you strived, it was always elusive. And maybe the second thing you learned all the way back then was, if you don't do something right, you should be told off. And in fact, you shouldn't even be attempting to do that thing at all. That the responsibility was taken from you. But now, as you see that memory, I want you to get a different perspective. It wasn't that you were doing the wrong thing. It was the way that you were being taught or told off wasn't the right thing. And I want you to imagine how it would feel to step into the body of your mother and decide that you're going to give you feedback in a different way, a way of kindness, compassion, encouragement. Rewind it all until you can see that young version of you attempting to stir the sauce the very first time. And you know it's not right. But imagine in a loving, kind, encouraging way, you give that feedback to that younger version of you as to how to improve slightly, how to make some progress. And notice how good it feels and natural it feels for you to be kind to yourself. And see the reaction of that younger version of you, responding positively to that kind understanding, that helpful, constructive encouragement, guidance, support. And each time there's more guidance. Every bit of feedback, lessons, support is always winnable. It can always make that tiny bit of progress. And I want you to see what impact that would have had on that young child. They would have taken pride in their ability to stir sauce. They would have felt a sense of growth, learning, responsibility. Because the game was winnable, they wanted to play that game. And imagine when that younger version of you has finished stirring the support, finished stirring that sauce, just give them wonderful praise. Tell them they did a wonderful job. So good at stirring that sauce. And just see their face light up with a smile and give them a hug. And if this feels like it would have been more useful for you back then to have had feedback in that way, let me know by nodding your head. I want you to get a sense that there is a inner child within you being healed. And that child perhaps wouldn't have had that critical voice within the way that you do now. I want you to imagine what it would be like to see a mirror somewhere in that childhood home. And the mirror is a portal to your current, present home. Again, imagine yourself as a invisible entity. Step through the mirror, and I want you to see another young child, this time your daughter. And I want you to see them colouring in. Maybe a picture that's already printed and they're trying to colour inside the lines. And I want you to see that every now and then the colours go outside of the lines. And I want you to feel that your instinct is that it's no big deal. The intention is to make a nice picture. And if every now and then a colour goes outside of the lines, then so what? The blip is not the trend. want you to get a sense that your daughter is teaching you a valuable lesson. To focus on the picture, not the color outside of the lines. So breathe in and breathe out. That's it. And imagine a place of pure comfort, pure relaxation. And as you hear the sound of my voice, you may begin to notice things that aren't usually noticed. I want you to focus on the rhythm of your breath, the weight of your body supported by anything beneath you. Perhaps even a sense that the very act of listening to my words can lead to a calm and open state. And as your awareness settles, you may begin to drift and wonder how many ways you can relax, even now. And every breath in invites a wonderful feeling of kindness, and every breath out releases harshness. And you can drift deeper now, deeper with every word, drifting deeper and deeper down to that place where change happens. And I want you to imagine before you a quiet, peaceful room. A room not in your home, a different room. Perhaps even a room you've never been to before. A place where all parts of you are welcome. And in this room is a chair. Not a comfortable chair, but a functional chair, like a meeting chair. And seated on that chair is a part of you. I want you to imagine that this is your inner critic, the part that speaks harshly when you're late, you don't meet your standards. Maybe that part says things like, "You're late, you've messed things up. Everything is ruined. You're never going to change." And maybe that part looks a certain way or sounds a certain way. Maybe they're dressed a certain way. Maybe their facial expression or posture looks a certain way. And you're in the room with this part and just observe it without judgment. But I want you to thank this part, not for the harsh criticism, but for the positive intention behind it. Because I think this part wants good things for you, wants you to have high standards. So as you thank that critical part for its intention, I want you to see the facial expressions and the posture shift and change and soften. This part thought you'd be angry with it, but I want you to be grateful for the intention. And then I want you to share something. That if this part has the intention of high standards, I want you to imagine projecting all those memories that, because you failed those impossibly high standards, I want you to telepathically project all those times you felt that sense of heaviness, blackness, tightness, all those times you ate too much, felt lousy about yourself. Project all of those experiences directly into the mind of this part that has been harsh with you. I want you to see that perhaps they had no idea that by trying to have the very highest of standards, they were inadvertently giving you permission to lower your standards. Maybe ask that part, what are they trying to do for you? Maybe they're trying to protect you or help you in some way, and just listen to what that part says. I think you already know they had a positive intention, just like your mother had a positive intention. But sometimes positive intentions can lead to the very opposite direction to which they intend. Because that voice may have sounded harsh, but it was never meant to punish. It was trying to motivate, to protect, to raise your standards, to help you live a better life. But what if it didn't know how to speak kindly and encouraging? I want you to imagine asking that part if it's willing to meet the intention in a more effective way. And if that part is willing to keep the intention the same, but the way it delivers that intention in a new way, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And I want you to ask that part to use kindness, understanding, to use encouragement as the way to have those high standards. And I want you to find the part within you that is the kindest, wisest part. The part that naturally does those things. And when that part enters the room, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to imagine these two parts will now work as a team. The part that was critical will keep the standards, but the way it will maintain those standards is through encouragement, learning, and tiny incremental progress. And if both parts are willing to work as a team to help you move forward through progress, improvements, refinements, let me know by nodding your head. And I want you to test it out. I want you to imagine it's a week or two from now, and you know you're going to be late for something. But I want you to hear that inner dialogue is different now. Maybe instead of reprimanding you, telling you off, maybe that voice is supportive and encouraging. Don't worry. You can still do what you need to do. We'll make this work. And next time we'll leave earlier. You've got this. And notice that when you feel encouraged, when there's perspective, when there's understanding, notice how you don't feel bad about yourself. And any cravings to binge or eat horrible food just isn't there. if this feels like a better relationship with yourself that would take you forwards, where the critic agrees to stop using shame to punish you and instead becomes this inner standard setter, quality control to move you forward through progress rather than punishment. A part that still wants growth but speaks with kind, encouraging words. If it feels like that change has now taken place, let me know by nodding your head. And if every now and then you hear that harsh tonality, you can remind that part that we don't do that anymore. It would be an echo. The new part is kind and encouraging. It will be a coach to you, the voice you hear when things don't go to plan, giving you ideas for improvements, refinements, areas of progress. And let's try something else. I want you to imagine you failed at something. Something didn't work out the way you intended. Hear the words of kind encouragement, like a motivational speaker inside your head, not shaming you and blaming you, reprimanding you, but building you up, getting you back on your feet, helping you to stay the course to that direction that you really want to get to. And you can always choose to feel bad about yourself, but you don't need that anymore. You want something that makes your life better. And by doing so, don't be surprised if you become a different example to the people you love the most. That you don't need to be hard, harsh, mean, and cruel to yourself to make progress. You can be kind, loving, caring, compassionate, and understanding, and still make progress. Hear that new, warm, encouraging voice telling you that you're human, you're still learning. There is no failure, only feedback. We can learn from this, and all of it is true. And you feel how this response feels better. Instead of that darkness and tightness, feel lighter, energized, galvanized to move forward. If this path forward feels more winnable, more motivating, more inspiring, let me know by nodding your head. As it now dawns on you that perfection is the enemy of progress, and you will now prioritize progress over perfection. Setbacks are part of your springboard forward. Your eye is on the progress and the direction that you're heading in. It's time to leave this place deep down in your imagination. But you will return where your inner critic is now your inner coach, encouraging, supportive, helping you move forward. So take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.